Discover how a little girl's heartwarming touch of one moment transformed a CEO's life forever. In a cozy Midwestern town where the scent of fresh pancakes wafted through air, 8-year-old Rebecca played in her front yard, her laughter dancing with the summer breeze. She had a heart brimming with empathy, just like her mother Sarah, who worked tirelessly at the local diner. The diner was more than just a job, it was a community hub, a lifeline for many, yet it teetered on the brink of closure. As Sarah served coffee and flipped pancakes, she taught Rebecca the value of kindness, generosity, and the importance of supporting one another during hard times. Meanwhile, Tom, a wealthy CEO who ruled his corporate kingdom with a steely grip, sat alone on a park bench far from the bustling city back in the town he had once called home for a funeral. Despite his suits that shimmered with success and a bank account that overflowed, Tom felt a crushing solitude. The laughter that surrounded him felt foreign, mingling with ghosts of unresolved family issues. As he watched people pass by, he noticed the warmth of connection, a stark contrast to his own chilly disconnection. Then, through the autumn leaves, Rebecca approached him, her small figure illuminated by the afternoon sun. The bracelet she held was simple, crafted from colorful threads with loops that seemed like promises of friendship. "Hi, mister," she said, her wide eyes full of sincerity. "Would you like this? It's my lucky bracelet." The brightness of her smile cracked through the carefully constructed armor he had put up. At that moment, Tom felt something shift within him. That small gesture, a token of a world that thrived on connection, pierced through the shadows of his ambitious life. For the first time in a long while, he felt a flicker of warmth in his heart, a longing for genuine connection amidst his towering barriers. "Why do you want to give this to me?" he asked, curiosity igniting in his voice. Rebecca's innocent story unfolded the struggles her mother faced, the laughter at dinner times, and her dreams stitched with hope that revealed the simple joys that filled her days. Each word she spoke lit up Tom's heart like fireworks on a summer night, painting a picture of resilience and community he had forgotten. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As Rebecca talked about her desires to help her mother save the diner, Tom could feel a battle raging inside him, his covetous ambition clashing with the truth of what he witnessed. He faced a choice as monumental as any business deal he had ever made. The little girl sitting before him, with sparkling optimism, was awakening feelings he had buried under layers of corporate success. Could he really bridge the gap between his affluent lifestyle and the everyday struggles of those who were once his neighbors? With that question hanging in the air, Tom found himself in a town hall meeting later that week, where the community gathered to raise funds for the diner. As he watched Rebecca and the townsfolk come together, encouragement radiating from every corner, he felt the gravity of his decision. Driven by her infectious hope, would he finally embrace the values of connection that so profoundly shaped their small community? The air was electric with uncertainty as he stood at the brink of a life-transforming revelation, feeling deeply alive for the first time in ages. How could one kind, simple moment initiate such profound change? The stakes have never been higher. Tom paced outside the town hall, the evening sky draping a soft twilight over the community gathering. The dim glow of string lights illuminated the faces of the people he once knew, their smiles brighter than he remembered. With every step, doubt flickered back to life. He could easily turn away, retreating to the comfort of his solitary world. Yet he found his gaze drawn back to the little girl, the beacon of hope in an age of indifference. Inside, the crowd buzzed with excitement. Townsfolk didn't just know each other, they cradled stories of shared lives, mutual struggles, and triumphs. He felt like an outsider, an invader in a world built on authenticity. Each laugh, each heartfelt cheer felt like a magnet, pulling at parts of him that had gone dormant. But could he truly belong here? Rebecca's delicate voice sliced through his thoughts as she stood up to speak, her small frame dwarfed by the microphone. "We have to save the diner. It's where our memories live," she exclaimed, her sincerity ringing out. The room went silent, focused not only on her words but the courage wrapped around them. Tom's heart raced as he absorbed her passion. He could feel temptation stir inside him, a desire to be part of something bigger than himself, to contribute to those vibrant smiles. Could he really take the leap? With an inner battle raging, he stepped up to the microphone himself, surprising even his own hesitation. As he spoke, his voice felt foreign yet somehow incredible. "I want to help. I can help." The room erupted in soft gasps, faces snapping toward him. He shared his vision for revitalizing the diner, not just as an investment, but as a pledge of community, support, and belonging. Each word fragmented the walls he had tucked himself behind, revealing a vulnerability he hadn't known he possessed. Applause broke like a tide, washing over him. Instinctively, he searched for Rebecca's eyes. Her expression was a mixture of disbelief and elation, a smile cracking like dawn's first light. She raced toward him, throwing her arms around him in a hug that spoke volumes, a promise of friendship that felt colossal. In that moment, something shifted in Tom. The weight of his life choices lifted slightly as warmth pooled in his chest. He felt alive, and for the first time, he understood what mattered most. Family, community, love, things he had deemed unnecessary in his relentless pursuit of success. But behind that glow of newfound purpose, shadows lurked. As the crowd continued their cheers, Tom couldn't shake the thought: would he truly be accepted? What if his past, with all its corporate coldness, overshadowed this moment of connection? As the evening wore on, plans were set into motion, excitement palpable. But in the midst of hope, new fears whispered warnings in his mind. Was he truly ready to embrace this change? Just as he contemplated the enormity of those feelings, he felt a small, familiar hand slip into his, the sincerity of that touch grounding him once more. Outside, as the last of the sunlight faded, the first stars twinkled in the indigo sky. Tom took a deep breath, looking around at the faces beaming with aspiration. This was just the beginning. But before he could fully bask in his hopeful transformation, a shadow from the past loomed. Someone he had hoped never to face again was approaching. Would he choose to confront what he had fled? Or would the connections he created now help him to overcome that specter? Tom's stomach churned as that familiar figure came into focus. It was Aaron, his former business partner, wearing a smirk that felt carved from past regrets. Tom thought he had buried that chapter of his life deep enough, but here it was, rising from the ashes like a vengeful phoenix. As Aaron stepped closer, the warmth radiating from the crowd transformed into a cold pressure against Tom's chest. He felt Rebecca's hand slip away as she turned to the whispers around her. "Tom!" Aaron called, his voice dripping with a condescending cheerfulness. "Fancy seeing you here." Tom's hands clenched involuntarily. Memories surged back, late nights filled with spreadsheets, cutthroat negotiations, and laughter that never reached genuine joy. Aaron always had that charm, but underneath it lay a heartbeat of deceit. He realized that the cheers of belonging turned into an echo, their warmth replaced by the chilling reminder of where he had come from. Could he truly embrace this new chapter while confronting the tangled threads of his old life? "Not so fancy, actually," Tom replied, forcing a tight smile. "What brings you back here?" "Oh, I'm just visiting," Aaron shrugged, feigning nonchalance. "I heard about the diner project." "Go figure, right? You and your little community charm." The sarcastic undertone clawed at Tom's resolve. Before Tom could respond, Aaron leaned in closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "Are you really ready to take on all this?" He gestured widely, as if dismissing the town folk who mingled nearby. "These people don't know you. They don't know what you did." Tom felt a wave of heat rise in his cheeks. The laughter that once filled him with joy now felt tainted with doubt. He opened his mouth to retort, but the words tangled in his throat. Did they deserve to know, and more importantly, did he? "That's not what this is about," he managed finally, his voice steadier than he felt. "It's about moving forward." Aaron smirked and leaned in closer. "Moving forward?" You're still that same guy who ran from responsibility. You really think these simple folk will accept you? In that moment, Tom's heart raced. Memories of his past successes and the ice-cold emptiness that followed surged back. But then he heard Rebecca's voice, the unwavering determination in her words echoing in his mind. He thought of the hugs shared, the laughter, and the community he had just touched. The heaviness of doubt began to lift, and a flicker of defiance ignited within him. I don't owe you or anyone else an explanation. I'm here for a reason now, and I plan to fight for this community. At those words, he felt something change. The tension in his body began to dissolve, releasing the grip of his past. Aaron's eyes darkened slightly, recognizing that Tom was not the timid, subservient man he once knew. You think you can just walk away from who you were? You can't outrun your past forever, he said, backing away slowly, a hint of worry visible beneath his bold facade. Tom stood straighter, suddenly aware of the importance of this confrontation. The cheers of the townspeople pulsed in his ears, and for the first time, he felt the fierce power of overcoming fear. But even as he embraced this newfound strength, the flicker of doubt was still there, lurking in the shadows. Was he truly ready to confront everything that lay ahead? Did he have the strength to rebuild the past and forge a new future not only for himself but for everyone depending on him? Before he could settle on an answer, he felt Rebecca's small hands slip into his once more, grounding him like a lifeline. She looked up at him with wide eyes, filled with unwavering trust and belief. Just then, a forgotten ringtone pierced through the gathering, cutting through the night. The sound was from Tom's phone, an unfamiliar name flashing on the screen. A name he hadn't seen in years. His heart raced again. Would this connect him deeper to his past or offer a new path into the future? Tom's fingers trembled as he stared at the phone. The name flickered in front of him, a ghost he thought was long buried Samantha. Memories cascaded through his mind like rapid fire. Her laughter, bright and carefree, the way she always believed in him, despite everything. He hadn't spoken to her in over 5 years, not since everything had collapsed around them. What is it? Rebecca asked, noticing the change in his expression. Tom swallowed hard. It's someone from my past. He hesitated, the words clinging to his throat. Someone I thought I lost. What if it's good news? She encouraged with a smile. A part of him believed that, but another part braced for disappointment. Reaching out, he answered the call, heart pounding in rhythm with the vibrations. Tom? The voice on the other end was hesitant, full of layers he couldn't decipher. Is that really you? It is. Samantha. It's been a while. I know. I've tried to reach you. Her voice quivered. Things have changed. A lot has changed. Tom felt a chill race down his spine. Are you okay? I'm fine, but there's something important I need to tell you. I didn't want to reach out until I was sure. He sensed urgency in her tone. What is it? There was a pause, a heavy silence that stretched between them. The laughter from the crowd faded, the world around him blurred. I have your daughter, Tom. She has been with me since. The blood rushed from his head. Everything crashed around him. Wait. What do you mean? I have a daughter? Samantha hesitated, perhaps trying to gauge his reaction. Yes. You didn't know? The ground felt unsteady beneath his feet. Tom glanced at where Rebecca stood, her expression shifting from concern to disbelief. He hadn't anticipated this. A daughter? The laughter of the crowd swirled back into focus, a harsh contrast to the turmoil inside him. Memories of both triumph and loss clashed like thunder. What had he missed? What had he lost? Tom, please. We need to talk. She needs you, now more than ever. He could barely comprehend the words through the fog. A daughter. The very idea felt like a flickering light in a dark tunnel. When can I see her? Soon. But there are things you need to understand first. I don't want to overwhelm you. I need to know everything, he said, voice firmer this time. I can't just let this go. Rebecca approached him slowly, her presence a calming anchor amidst his chaotic surge of emotions. Tom, what is happening? He glanced at her, seeing worry etched across her face, mingled with determination. It's a lot. Samantha continued. I'll meet you tomorrow, at the old park. We'll talk then. It's important. Tom's pulse quickened at the thought of facing both his past and a daughter he never knew existed. Okay. Just tell me she's okay. She is. And she wants to meet you. The call ended, leaving a void filled with questions. Tom finally turned to Rebecca, the weight of revelation bearing down. I have a daughter, Rebecca. I never knew. Her eyes widened in surprise, but also understanding, as if she realized the sheer magnitude of the moment for him. What do we do now? I don't know, but I need to find her. I need to wait. Rebecca took a deep breath, her tone softening. Tom, are you ready for this? It could change everything. He could feel a storm brewing within, doubts colliding with hope. Could he handle this new reality while trying to reshape the past? Would it tear him apart, or somehow lead him toward healing? Tomorrow, he whispered, a promise to both himself and the daughter he now longed to meet. I have to face this. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a softness around them, and although uncertainty hovered, an ember of hope sparked inside him. Just then, Rebecca squeezed his hand tighter. You're not alone, you know. Whatever happens, I'm with you. As they made their way back toward the gathering crowd, Tom's heart drummed a new rhythm along with the whispers of his past and the possibilities of his future. Would this moment of truth lead to redemption or a deeper unraveling of everything he thought he knew? A thought flitted through his mind. What if the reunion with his daughter meant finally confronting not only his past mistakes but also the man he had become? He paused mid-step, staring out into the distance. Tomorrow loomed large, holding the keys to his past and future intertwined. The next day dawned with a soft glow, the sky a delicate shade of blue, as if it too was holding its breath in anticipation. Tom stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for what felt like the 100th time. His heart drummed a frantic beat, a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through him. Today was the day. The day he would finally meet the daughter he never knew he had. The park loomed large in his mind, the old swings and rusted merry-go-round filled with the laughter of children. They had once been places of innocence for him, echoes of simpler times. Now they felt like the setting for a new chapter, one where he had no idea what role he would play. Are you ready? Rebecca's voice broke through his thoughts as she joined him, a reassuring presence. She had offered to go with him, to be there for moral support. It was just another example of how she had stood by him, unwavering and strong. Tom turned to her, the warm light of morning seeping into the room. I don't know, he confessed, his pulse quickening. What if she doesn't want to meet me? Or worse, what if she blames me for not being there? Rebecca rested a hand on his shoulder, her grip steady. You can't control her feelings, Tom. All you can do is show up and be honest. That's the first step. He breathed deeply, inhaling the scent of fresh coffee wafting from the kitchen, but it did little to calm his nerves. Yeah, what about Samantha? What's her agenda? Focus on her being part of your past. You need to think about your daughter's future. Tom nodded, though doubt still crept in. Samantha had always been unpredictable, full of passion but often caught in emotional storms. However, thinking of the little girl waiting for him, a piece of him stirred something deep inside. A glance at the clock sent a jolt through him. Time wasn't waiting. Let us go, he said, determination setting his jaw. They left the apartment, the weight of the moment stretching into the air like an elastic band ready to snap. The drive to the park felt surreal. Trees blurred past him, and his thoughts spiraled between hope and dread. What was she like? Would she be angry? Curious? Would she see him for the man he was, or hold him accountable for years lost? Arriving at the park, he felt the energy of the surroundings, the sounds of laughter, rustling leaves, and the faint sound of a distant ice cream truck. It was all so ordinary, yet nothing felt ordinary about this visit. Tom scanned the area, his heart racing when he spotted her. A little girl sat on a swing, swirling her legs back and forth. Her hair glowed in the sunlight, creating a halo around her head. She looked so familiar. Was that a wave of déjà vu washing over him, or just the echo of Samantha in her? Is that her? Rebecca whispered, her awe palpable. I think so, he breathed, moving as if in a trance. He stepped forward, every movement feeling heavier than the last. What would he say? What kind of father could he possibly be after all this time? Samantha, he called out, voice trembling. The girl turned at the sound of his voice, her eyes wide and cautious. The same vivid blue as his own, sparkling with curiosity yet shrouded in uncertainty. Then Samantha turned towards him. Tom, you made it. Her tone held a mix of relief and apprehension, as she gestured toward the girl. Lila, this is your dad. The wind stilled. Tom felt the world around him fade. All that existed in that moment was the small girl standing before him, a fragile bridge to a past he had abandoned. In that heartbeat of silence, everything hinged on what would happen next. Would Lila take a step toward him, or would she retreat back into the sanctuary of her mother's side? As Tom held his breath, he hoped that whatever choice she made would lead them to a path of healing, forgiveness, or a chance for something they could build together. The moment of truth was upon him, and it could change everything. Would today mark the beginning of a new family or the end of dreams he had yet to recognize? Lila's eyes flickered between Tom and Samantha, a storm of emotions brewing beneath her innocent exterior. His heartbeat thundered, an awkward silence stretching out like a worn-out spring. He could feel Rebecca's expectant gaze on him, urging him to take charge, to bridge the gap that had loomed for years. Hi, Lila, Tom finally managed to say, forcing a smile through the knot in his throat. I'm your dad. The words felt foreign, heavy on his tongue, yet they held the weight of everything he had yearned for and feared. Dad? Lila echoed, her voice small and unsure, as if the word were just out of reach. It sent a wave of bittersweet longing crashing over Tom. He knelt down, bringing himself closer to her level. Yeah, I know it's a lot to take in. But I'm here now and I'd love to get to know you. Samantha shifted beside Lila, her posture tense. She's just getting used to things. This is all new for her. There was an edge to her words, an unspoken worry that locked them in a cage of scrutiny. I understand, Tom replied, his heart aching to reassure them both. I want to be a part of your life, Lila. If that's okay. Lila glanced at her mom, searching for guidance. In that moment, Tom saw the tiniest flicker of vulnerability in her blue eyes. Navigating this uncharted territory was daunting, for both of them. It reminded him of walking a tightrope, with emotions swirling beneath. Do you like ice cream? Tom asked, desperate for a hint of connection. It felt like a lame attempt, but he had to start somewhere. Lila's eyes lit up. I love chocolate. A tiny spark ignited within him. Chocolate it is, then. He stood, ready to offer his hand. But Lila hesitated, looking to Samantha once more. Can we? She asked softly, a note of desperation clinging to her voice like a raft in uncertainty. Tom's heart sank slightly, realizing that his presence brought apprehension along with excitement. Of course, Samantha responded, her expression not quite answering the question Lila's eyes posed. But let's keep it short. Just until the ice cream truck runs out. Tom interjected, trying to inject some fun into the tense air. A quick smile spread across Lila's face, and it felt like a small victory for him. As they began to walk, Tom took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his back. Each step brought them closer to something he didn't quite understand yet, a relationship forming that would need care and nurturing. Lila held onto her mother's hand, yet there was a lightness in her stride, as if curiosity cracked the surface layer of fear. You can ask me anything, he encouraged, meeting her gaze as they reached the ice cream truck. What do you want to know? What's your favorite color? Lila asked boldly, her innocence breaking through layers of uncertainty. Blue, he answered, smiling at the coincidence. Like your eyes. Her cheeks flushed with what seemed like delight, and he felt a warmth rise in his chest. This heartfelt exchange was small, but it shone bright against the shadow of loss that had hung over him for so long. Just as they received their treats, the ice cream truck jingle faded into the background of laughter and joyful screams. It felt like a world they were gradually stepping into together, shaped by simple moments that could weave a new reality. But then, Samantha's phone buzzed, her face clouding over once more as she read the message. Tom's heart sank. He sensed another storm brewing. "It's work," she said, her voice clipped. "I need to take this." And just like that, the safety net of the moment began to fray. Tom watched as Samantha turned away, leaving him standing there with Lila. What would happen if this new openness crumbled under the weight of responsibility? Would he be enough? "Do you want to swing?" Tom asked, gesturing to the swings nearby, wanting to shift the tension that now enveloped them. Lila hesitated, but the spark of adventure seemed to dance in her eyes again. She nodded, and together they walked toward the swings, the laughter of children echoing in the distance. As he pushed her gently, he was reminded that this budding relationship could shatter or blossom in an instant. Would this one moment spark something beautiful, or would it lead them down a path he feared would only end in heartache? The air thickened with uncertainty, and as he watched her swing higher and higher, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was just beginning. Tom pushed Lila higher, each push matching her laughter with the rhythm of his heartbeat. The joy on her face lifted something heavy within him, a feeling of purpose that he fought to embrace. The playground was alive, filled with the shouts of children, the rustling of leaves, all part of a backdrop he had long yearned to be part of. This was real, this was life. "Look at me, Dad! I can fly!" she called out, her tiny legs kicking in the air. Her laughter was pure, unfiltered joy that burrowed deep into his heart, turning it to mush. "Just don't fly too high." He chuckled back, his nerves easing with each swing. But beneath the surface, a part of him screamed for stability, a reminder of the fragile bond they were trying to forge. Would this whimsical moment of swinging really lead to something lasting? His eyes flickered back to Samantha, still on her phone and seemingly tethered to work. Her brow crinkled, tension evident even from a distance. He wished he could be privy to the thoughts swirling behind her striking gaze. Was she worried about him? About Lila? Tom? Lila's sweet voice cut through his worries, pulling him back into the moment. "Can we go faster?" "Absolutely." He pushed her a little harder, and she squealed with delight, eyes sparkling with exhilaration. But just as he began to find his rhythm, a familiar figure approached. It was Jake, his business partner. The shock of seeing him here twisted Tom's stomach. He didn't want to deal with work, not now, not here. "Tom! There you are!" Jake called out jovially, oblivious to the tension in the air. "I didn't know you were here." "Just spending time with Lila," he replied, trying to keep his tone light, not masking the irritation that wanted to surface. "Oh. This is your daughter?" Jake looked at Lila, who had halted mid-swing, her innocent smile brightening the atmosphere. "Hey, little one! Are you having fun?" Lila glanced at Tom, her eyes searching for reassurance. "Yeah. Dad is pushing me." "You mean Tom's a dad now?" Jake chuckled, raising an eyebrow. "You don't say!" Tom could feel the warmth creeping up his neck. It felt like a spotlight shining down on him, and for a moment he hated it. "Yeah, why didn't you tell me?" Jake interrupted, his voice tinged with curiosity. "This is huge." He grinned as if the revelation was some exciting business venture rather than an emotional reunion. "Because it's new," Tom replied sharply. There was tension coiled tightly between them. "I'm still figuring it out." Lila wriggled in her swing, the moment turning awkward in an instant. "Dad?" she asked, a hint of worry flickering over her face. "I'm still here, Lila," he assured her quickly, trying to shake off the discomfort. "Just giving Jake a bit of a reality check." Right, Jake said, sheepishly adjusting his posture. "I get it. This is about family, meaningful stuff, right? I'll back off." He turned to Lila. "So, what's your favorite game?" She perked up a little, eyes sparkling with excitement. I like tag. Tag, huh? I'd win. Jake teased, and it momentarily cut through the simmering tension. Lila giggled. Tom sighed, grateful for her laughter, but his mind churned over the unexpected visit. How would he juggle work and this fragile new life? As much as he wanted to focus solely on Lila, there was a web of responsibilities waiting just outside the playground. The swings came to a halt, and Lila jumped off, her little heart still racing with joy. Can I show you my favorite slide? Lead the way. He beamed, the possibility of connection sparking again in him. As they walked side by side, he glanced at Samantha. She was still lost in her world, glancing at her phone every few seconds. He felt a swell of frustration. How could they build a relationship if she was never truly present? Dad? Lila's voice interrupted his thoughts. Are you okay? Yeah, just thinking, he replied, forcing a smile. About us? About everything. She paused, tilting her head. Do you want to play more? Absolutely. As they reached the slide, Tom couldn't help but wish for more clarity, more connection, more presence. This was just beginning, a delicate one, but he needed to protect it, to nurture it. Just as Lila prepared to climb, he caught a glimpse of Samantha, finally looking up. Her eyes met his, and for a fleeting second, an understanding passed between them. But just as quickly, a shadow crossed her expression. Tom, she called, her voice tinged with urgency. I really need to. He felt panic rise in his chest. Would this moment slip away before it ever truly began? Hold on, Lila. Let us all talk. But as Samantha's phone buzzed again, he realized they were standing on the edge of another storm. Would this time be different? Would they really be able to bridge the gaps that loomed so large? Lila scampered up the slide, her small fingers gripping the sides as she looked back at Tom, her eyes shining with excitement. Come on, Dad! You have to see me slide down. He watched her, overwhelmed by a blend of pride, concern, and hope. But in the periphery, Samantha stood rooted to the ground, her face a mask of conflict. Tom's heart raced as he turned back to Lila, her laughter ringing clear and bright. Every giggle was a reminder of what he was fighting for. Okay, I'm watching, he called, cheering her on as she perched at the top of the slide, an imposing fortress built of metal for such a tiny figure. Just as she pushed off, gliding down with arms wide like wings, a part of him was in awe. She was so fearless, unclouded by the complexities of the world around them. Did you see that? Lila squealed, her feet hitting the ground in a triumphant thud as she jumped up, her smile stretching wide. I did. You were amazing. Tom felt the corner of his mouth lift, but just as he began to bask in the pure joy radiating from her, he turned to find Samantha's expression only had darkened further. Samantha, wait! He urged, desperate to bridge the widening rift between them. I can't right now, Tom. Samantha's voice was shaky, like a tightrope ready to snap under pressure. I have an important meeting I can't skip. She seemed caught in a storm of her own, half-heartedly gripping her phone, her other hand nervously pushing back a strand of hair. All he wanted was for her to be present for a few moments, to share in this newfound life they were trying to create together. Lila is so happy. Can't that wait just a bit longer? He took a step toward her, trying to connect. But it was as if her gaze had shifted into a fog. You don't understand. I've worked my whole life for this promotion. I can't slip now. Tom felt his heart sink. In that brief moment, he realized just how vast the gap had become between them. Lila's innocent joy contrasted sharply with Samantha's fierce determination, and he was stuck in the middle, feeling the weight of both worlds. You're not just a career, Samantha. We need you here right now. Daddy, come play with me. Lila called, her voice a sweet disruption to the heavy air surrounding him. Just a second, sweetheart, he replied, kneeling down, his heart breaking at the sight of her innocently waiting for his attention. The moment pulled his thoughts in two directions, one toward the playground where Lila bounced on her heels, and the other to Samantha, whose focus had drifted back to her phone. It's always work with you, he said, frustration bubbling to the surface. Can we just put it down for a moment? Tom, you don't get it. I'm doing this for us. Her words hung in the air like an echo of distant thunder, filled with urgency as if the discussion could shift their fates forever. Doing this for us, he murmured softly, the weight of her statement hanging over him. But as he looked over at Lila, beaming brightly, he realized that they needed to define what S truly meant. Lila's first, he stated firmly, rising to stand by his daughter, as she waved to him expectantly. I didn't bring you back just for work, Sam. I came to be a father. Tom, Samantha said, her expression momentarily softening, I can't just drop everything, can't you try? The plea in his voice caught them both off guard. The playground felt like a whirlwind, every moment slipping through his fingers. Tom wanted to shout to the storm brewing around them to subside, to allow them this one simple opportunity to bond. But as his eyes darted back to Lila, she was already off running towards the swings again, laughter echoing brightly against the backdrop of their hesitations. He turned back to Samantha, whose expression had flipped once more, an indecipherable mix of resolve and vulnerability. This isn't just another meeting, he said, the finality in his words heavy with truth. Just then, Lila stopped. She turned halfway, looking at them both, her small form emblematic of hope. Can you both come and play? It's way more fun together. Could a simple call from a little girl truly knit back together the two adults whose lives had grown so complicated? Could this be the moment that turned everything around? Tom held his breath, the possibility of everything hanging on a delicate thread. Would they really be able to come together, or were they destined to drift apart, like ships in a storm? Tom watched as Lila swung her legs back and forth on the swing set, her laughter ringing through the air like a melody. It was infectious, and for a moment, it filled the heaviness that had settled between him and Samantha. He could see her reflection in Lila's joy, but it felt so far away. He turned to Samantha, who finally had her phone down, her attention flickering between their daughter and the start of what felt like a more serious conversation. Sam, just take a minute. She needs us both right now. Samantha's features softened, and for a fleeting second, Tom wondered if she might actually step closer. I can't just leave it all behind, Tom. If I don't make this promotion happen, I don't know what's next. I get it, he whispered, the weight in his chest growing heavier. But what's the point of all that success if we're not together? It feels like we're losing what really matters. Lila called to them again, her voice a little more impatient this time. Come on. I want to go higher. The determination in her eyes was an echo of her father's own fight. It pierced through the discussions of promotions and responsibilities, reminding him that this was about more than just career progression, it was about family. Seeing her there, swinging high with every push, Tom felt the stirrings of a sense of urgency. Look, he said gently, we can't let work win. Lila has brought us back together, and she deserves to see us united. The frustration that had tangled with his love for Samantha began to unravel just a touch. Samantha's resolve seemed to crack, her shoulders slumping slightly as she took a step closer. What do you propose we do? Let us just be here. Just for today. We can have this conversation later, but right now, he nodded toward Lila, she's counting on us. Lila finally jumped off the swing and landed lightly on the ground, dust swirling around her feet. She trotted toward them, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Please, please, please. Tom couldn't help but smile, the frustration cleaving from his heart like thunderclouds parting to let the sun through. All right, how about a family play day? But Tom, Samantha started to protest, but the look in Lila's eager eyes silenced her. Tom insisted, it can be part of the plan. Just 1 hour, nothing important is more important than your daughter wanting you. There was resolve in his voice, steady and strong. Samantha hesitated for a moment longer, looking at Lila bursting with enthusiasm and then meeting Tom's hopeful gaze. 1 hour? Just 1 hour. Let her have this. With a deep breath, Samantha finally relented. Okay, 1 hour. Joy flooded Tom's chest as Lila cheered, jumping up and down. The tension that had wrapped around them began to fade, unraveling like a spool of yarn slowly coming undone. Samantha stepped toward their daughter, kneeling down. All right, Miss Giggles. What should we do first? Let us play tag, Lila shouted, her voice alive with delight. Tag it is, Tom responded, feeling the warmth in his heart grow. He ran toward Lila, her laughter lighting up the gray clouds swirling around them. As they began to chase each other, it was as if the world around them transformed. The tension melted into giggles and shouts of joy. Tom could see Samantha visibly relaxing, getting caught up in the spontaneity, her laughter chasing after Lila's. But deep within, shadows began to bubble up. Could a single hour act as an antidote to the years of drifting apart? Tom watched as Lila darted around, but the feeling of uncertainty nagged at him. Would this be enough to bridge the gaps that had formed? In that moment, a sudden shrill beep interrupted their unfolding happiness. It was Samantha's phone, vibrating insistently in her pocket. Tom turned to her, heart sinking. You can't? Samantha's expression shifted again, a shadow crossing over their shared joy. I should just check it. Lila halted, sensing something was wrong. She looked from her mother to her father and back again, her small brow furrowing in confusion. Why won't you come and play? Tom's heart dropped. This moment was just beginning to shift everything, and now, it felt like the storm was gathering strength anew. Would they truly find the balance, or was it all unraveling again right before his eyes? As Samantha fished out her phone, Tom stood frozen, caught between the joyous moment and the looming reality. What came next would define them all. Tom felt the tension crawl up his spine as he watched Samantha fumble with her phone. Lila's laughter echoed through the park, vibrant and full of life, a stark contrast to the doubts swirling in Tom's mind. Why won't you come play with us? Lila's innocent voice asked again, her big blue eyes wide with confusion. She looked from Tom to Samantha, searching for clarity in a world where adults often seemed lost. Sweetheart, just 1 minute, Samantha replied, but her tone was clipped, chasing after the urgency that pulsed in her chest. Tom's heart sank. He took a breath. Samantha, he urged softly, you just agreed to this time. Can't you give Lila your full attention? She needs us both. A flicker of uncertainty passed over Samantha's face as she glanced down at the incessant buzzing of her phone. He could see the internal struggle, her ambition locked in a tug-of-war with the undeniable truth that their little girl was right there needing them. Lila, how about a quick game of tag? Tom suggested, trying to bridge the gap that had opened up, hoping to weave the threads of connection that had begun to form. Yeah. Tag. Lila's enthusiasm burst forth again, lifting the heavy air just enough for a moment. Tom could see her unyielding spirit and pure joy, reminding him of what they had been fighting to salvage. With a nod and a deep breath, Tom took Lila's hand, and swept her along with him. Run for it! He shouted as they burst into motion, two hearts against the world. For a moment, laughter reigned as Lila squealed, darting around playground equipment, feeling the wind on her face and freedom in her heart. Tom felt alive in every push and chase, each step resonating with the passion and purpose of fatherhood. Behind him, Samantha hesitated at first, watching the two with a bittersweet smile, clearly torn. When Lila paused to look back, Tom motioned for Samantha to join them. Come on! We're waiting! Finally, the dam broke. All right. Samantha called, her voice brimming with energy, as she dashed forward and joined the fun. The three of them became a whirlwind of joy, running, laughing, and tagging one another, tearing down the walls they hadn't even realized were there. As they played, the warmth enveloped them, and for that hour, the outside world dissipated. The playful banter that flowed felt like music, harmonizing all their differences into something beautiful. Yet deep down, Tom knew they were hovering over a chasm. What would happen when they returned to the realities of life? Could this fleeting hour truly mend the years apart? Just as Lila called for another round of tag, Samantha's phone buzzed again, slicing through the joyous atmosphere. The smile on Lila's face faltered slightly, and Tom felt a sinking feeling in his gut. Samantha was visibly torn once more, glancing down at her phone. I have to check it, she murmured almost helplessly. No, Tom said, a firm resolve driving his voice. Just put it away. Don't let work take over this again. Please. Lila looked confused, bouncing on her legs. Mommy? Samantha hesitated, her brow furrowed with conflict. In that moment, Tom saw the flicker of panic in her eyes, the pressure that built around her like a storm cloud. Lila, Tom knelt down, meeting his daughter's gaze. We're going to make this a day we'll remember. Can you help me? Lila bit her lip, uncertainty dancing across her small features. How? Let us play tag together. But this time, let us make it a team, Tom suggested, his voice painting a picture of unity. We can chase the world away together. Cheered by the idea of teamwork, Lila shook her head in delight. Okay. Mommy, come with us. Tom extended his hand, determination palpable. Samantha took a deep breath, and for once, it felt like she weighed the choices before her carefully. Let us do it, just for now, she said, finally setting her phone aside and stepping toward their daughter. Together! Lila exclaimed, wrapping her arms around their waists. They formed a little circle, united under the canopy of shade and sunlight filtering through the trees. In that innocent embrace, Tom felt hope shoot through him like a bolt of lightning. They could bridge the past, become a family redefined, a fresh start sewn with threads of love, laughter, and vulnerability. Okay, Lila, you're it, Tom declared, bursting into action even as he watched Samantha's expression shift. Each joyous chase felt like a step forward, each laugh echoed the resolve rising within him. Their connection was fragile but alive, and it breathed light into his heart. As they played, the world around them faded into the backdrop. They became a shimmering tapestry of giggles, shouts of happiness, and shared excitement. It was a new beginning, a family intertwining. Eventually, the hour came to an end. Out of breath but alive with pleasure, they collapsed onto the grass, fit to burst with laughter. Can we do that again? Lila asked, panting hard, cheeks flushed and full of life. Yes, absolutely. Samantha and Tom answered in unison, the warmth between them palpable even amidst the lingering uncertainties. Samantha turned to Tom, her expression softer now, eyes glistening with understanding. Thank you for today, she whispered. I needed this. Me too, he replied, the words holding a weight of sincerity. And the moment hung, a magic either had ever thought possible only a few hours earlier. Let us schedule more of these, Tom suggested, feeling a flicker of excitement building. Nothing is more important than this. Agreed, Samantha replied, her tone warmer, almost as if she were embracing a new reality. Deep down, they still faced struggles, layers of hurt and history that would need time to unravel. But tonight, to step into the light felt like a victory they hadn't commissioned before. Together, they said again, the pact uniting them in more than just words. It transformed into a promise of a bond worth renewing, side by side, as a family. As they rose to leave that day, the park around them felt softer, filled with the sounds of laughter echoing a new chapter. They walked away, hand in hand, ready to embrace the joys, the challenges ahead, all the beautiful moments waiting to unfurl. It was a heartwarming reminder not just of what they had lost, but of the bright future they could create together. And just like that, the power of a little girl's unwavering belief and connection transformed everything forever. Today was just the beginning. Let us make sure to nurture this bond, always knowing it could only flourish through love, joy, and shared adventures. So, remember, if you want to see how this family continues to grow, then you need to subscribe now to the channel. Hit that like button to feed the algorithm, and keep these heartwarming stories alive. Let us know your feelings about this beautiful ending in the comments below. What did it inspire within you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Family, love, and hope matter, and together, we can build connections that last a lifetime.